When you talk about love as a mere attachment, that is no big deal. That is what is happening around the spectrum, around the world. However, the second aspect of it is responsibility. To be free is no big deal. To take on a responsibility is a big deal.
I'll start off with the most oftenly used word called love. And one of the connotations that the love has is attachment. The other end of the spectrum is detachment or freedom. So my first question is, can we love with freedom? Can we love and at the same time have detachment with no strings attached? So if you could just let us know on that.
Detachment with no strings attached. Love curbs the freedom. That's what you're trying to say. Whether it is attachment, it's a curb on freedom. So will a sensible, sane person curb their freedom in order to engage in love? However, there is something beyond freedom, and that is responsibility. To be free is no big deal. To take on a responsibility is a big deal. People want their rights as citizens, but nobody wants their responsibilities. So similarly, everybody wants their freedom and everybody wants to shirk from responsibilities. But it is in taking on proper responsibilities that we please God and we fulfill the purpose of our life. Now when you talk about love as a mere attachment, that is no big deal. That is what is happening around the spectrum, around the world. Even the animals have that kind of love. That kind of love grows naturally in the parents towards their children, that of attachment. However, the second aspect of it is responsibility. The Bhagavatam says, Pita na sasyat, janani na sasyat. No mochayedya samupeti mrityum. That person you love and who is under your care, you need to have the ability to be able to liberate that person from Maya. Otherwise, don't take on that responsibility. In other words, it's not just mere love, it's discharging of a responsibility. So if somebody says, why should I take on any responsibilities? That is mukti, with the desire to be free. No bondage, I want mukti. Beyond mukti is bhakti. Bhakti means that God has given me so many faculties and facilities and I will utilize them to discharge responsibilities in His service. When there is bodily love, it is mere attachment. Now, if you wish to love from a higher level, you need to learn to first detach and attach your mind to God. And when the mind is attached to God, you will be able to truly love the other as a part of God with a sense of responsibility and with an ability to truly give. That will be real love.
Thank you, Swamiji. We keep on getting amazed how you make some of these intricate concepts so simple with analogies, and they are just so simple to understand. And some of the examples that you derive with, they are just phenomenal. So thank you so much.
I am only doing my duty.
Right. We're learning that from you, Swamiji. So I want to build on this question from love. I want to progress into the next aspect of relationship, which is marriage. So I'm from an IT background. So I always used to get amused when I would hear from people that marriages are architected and designed in heaven and executed and implemented on earth. So my question is, how far that's a true statement, and if it is, what role do stars have or alignment of stars have, which we call horoscope, in the grand scheme of things?
Marriage is one of the very, very important things or events in life, because the person you marry, who's going to be your life partner, is going to impact your success or failure in life. If you by chance happen to marry a suitable person, it becomes a big advantage. And if you marry somebody else, it becomes a drag. Just like it is important to find the proper job, it is important to find the proper partner. So in this, the celestial devatas do help. Souls who are reasonably evolved, who have now started manifesting the purpose of their life, trying to become responsible, then the celestial devatas do try and help that soul find the proper partner. But there is no rule. In other words, you cannot say, okay, this marriage was definitely arranged by heaven. So that is why you hope for the best, but be prepared for the worst. Now, when it comes to the horoscopes, in the earlier days, it was the days of arranged marriage, when before marriage the boy and girl do not even look at each other. So how do you know that it's a compatible match? There had to be some basis. People would use the charts. So now that kind of a concept is outdated, because now the boy and girl, they interview each other, they try and ensure that it's a proper match. So those charts and all have very little validity today. If the charts were so important and they were so foolproof, I tell you, there are so many couples out here who got married after the charts. And then you ask them, was the marriage a success or was it not? Right? So it was one of those factors in the days gone by. But today you have better factors to rely upon. In other words, your own judgment of the personality of the other, and subsequently after marriage, your ability to get along with somebody else, to understand the other, to sacrifice for the other, to be able to make adjustments. This is what counts. So I would say that don't give importance to the stars now.
Thank you, Swamiji. That
Thank you,
really
Swamiji.
helps.